All right, welcome back. Like Effect Sports, another episode. New strategy I'm going to try out right here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I always wait to the end of the video to tell you that. I'm telling you now. So make sure you do that. But we're back. We got a lot to talk about today because Cleveland's kind of going crazy and the sports world's going crazy. The big news that dropped, 20 minutes before we started, Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. And I know the Browns have their guy, but am I just crazy to say, would you trade for Aaron Rodgers right now?
216-578-0092. Would you trade for Aaron Rodgers? but seriously though, probably not. I mean, I would think, just stick with Baker. Like he's still young. Like he's still on a cheap rookie deal. Like you got the next 2 years to be competitive, and like go for a Super Bowl with this stacked roster. So like trading for Aaron Rodgers doesn't really do anything for me.
I'm kind of the opposite because I like Baker. I don't love Baker. I think if this team never wins a Super Bowl, you look back on it and you probably say it's the quarterback or maybe the defense if it doesn't end up shaking out to be as good as we hope it is. But when you have a generational talent, an MVP just kind of sitting there, you can trade 2 firsts and Baker, something like that, where you're not completely overspending. I'm not willing to give up our entire future for Aaron Rodgers, but if you can make a deal, because they're going to be in a pinch now just to figure something out. I'm sure this has been communicated in their rooms previously, but if it hasn't, they're in a world of hurt.
Oh yeah, there's no way that they were blindsided by this. Like Aaron has been public about it for months, and this is like the most like out there that it's been. Like when Schefter drops something, it's never like fake. It's always like it's a bomb, for a Shefty bomb for a reason. Like, but I don't know if he gets drafted during the draft. I would think it'd be to someone that really needs a QB. Like the Browns are not that desperate for a QB. It's not like they're at least for right now, they're not a QB away from going to the Super Bowl, I would think.
No, you're definitely right. Someone like the 49ers, where Aaron Rodgers grew up there, that immediately throws them into Super Bowl contention. So that's a team that would be smarter to trade, and they have the 3rd pick to make some action with.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Green Bay, are you looking for a quarterback in return, or are you saying Jordan Love? That's why we drafted a guy in the 1st round last year.
I mean, they would have to start Jordan Love. I would think they drafted him for a reason. Like if they go after a QB, then what was the point of drafting him? Like that just, it wouldn't make sense. So that they did the same thing when Aaron Rodgers was a rookie and Brett Favre was at the end of his time in Green Bay. So like they're gonna try him out there. No matter how they feel about the kid, like they got to see what they have in him.
Yeah, definitely. And that kind of leads to the other big draft news, which was the 49ers aren't taking Mac Jones 3.
Thank God.
And it's kind of like talking about smoke screens as a whole. Rumor is the Jets are the only team in the NFL that thinks Zach Wilson's the 2nd best quarterback in the NFL. Or not the NFL, in the draft. So who do you think's now going 2? Because Trevor's, it's been since 3 years ago, we knew when Trevor Lawrence could go number 1, he was going number 1. But who's going 2 now?
Oh man, like maybe I could see Fields going number 2. Like he's been linked to the Jets for a while, and well, Wilson's kind of taken that spot. But I wouldn't be surprised if, say, the Jets took him, or maybe Lance. Like, I mean, if they're not sold on Wilson at the moment and they decide to go into a different direction, this is probably Fields' best chance to stay in the top 3.
Yeah, and I fully agree with that, because now it really seems like there's 2 teams that are a quarterback away from being playoff contenders, and that's the Patriots and the 49ers. I see them now just going all in for an Aaron Rodgers, where some teams that kind of just need a lot more could go now look up to move up draft boards even. Because my thought is, say you're San Francisco, you're at 3 right now, you move back, acquire some more draft capital, and then go for a Rodgers. Because I think, say, 2 first-round picks is a lot more valuable to kind of package together for a Rodgers.
Yeah, like the Patriots, especially Bill Belichick, he wants to prove that he can win something without Tom Brady. I think that's for a fact. That's why they went out and signed all these different guys. They went out in free agency like they haven't had in years. Like they want to prove that they can still be the Patriots without Tom Brady. And Bill Belichick is going to do whatever he can to get back to the Super Bowl with at no like, and he won't care about a draft pick. Like he'll toss it in whatever if he gets Aaron Rodgers for like 2 years. You don't care.
In 2 years, kind of thinking about it, how many more years does Bill Belichick have? 2 years might be it.
Yeah, like he doesn't have that much time left in the NFL, especially if he wants to still keep winning. So he probably will do something crazy in about 3 hours when the draft starts.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. And without basically now like us making a mock draft, because I mean we don't want to get bullied even harder. We just made a podcast. We know Cleveland fans can't stand if you have a podcast or you make a mock draft. We can't do both of them in the same show. So,
oh yeah, we're just a stereotype right now. So yeah, let's just keep it moving.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. One last Cleveland sports thing. What position? Let's not even go player. What position do you want the Browns to take?
I've always been of the opinion that you either go cornerback or if you feel really good about it, edge rusher. I still think they need another guy on the outside or another pass rusher to solidify that position, because you have to go either like double down on being very good in coverage or kind of double down on the edges and just go after the QB, because that's what the Browns need in those two like spots.
Yeah, I agree. And I think my answer is just such a bailout answer, but it's best player available on defense. Whatever, number one on your guys' board at that point. I don't even really want a receiver, even if someone great falls down to us, like Rondell Moore or something like that, who I love. I think you got to go best player available defense.
Yeah, I haven't really been all in on some parts of Brown's Twitter have been all in on wide receiver at 26. And like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. At least wait two more picks before you pick a wide receiver if you feel like you need one. You're not desperate for a wide receiver right now. You need defense.
Yeah, and I really don't get that, because the wide receivers weren't bad last year. Donovan Peoples-Jones was great. Landry's great. And now you're getting Odell back, who people don't really like right now, but he's still Odell. I mean, I don't think you're anything wrong with receiver.
Yeah, I think it's just more people having gripes about their contracts and like worrying about down the line, like, oh, like Jarvis Landry's contract's getting a little expensive. Odell's getting a little expensive. Maybe we need to think a little ahead. We don't really have to think ahead right now. Maybe eventually, but not at this moment.
Especially since I think this is win now. And that feels like such a like passive move.
Yeah, like you I mean, the Browns have not gotten to this position in a very long time. So I would expect AB to be aggressive. And it turns out he's probably being aggressive right now, because I've seen reports that he's going to try to like jump ahead of some teams to try to get the best cornerback. Like, so he's going to try to be aggressive.
Yeah, I could see Barry doing that, but I think we're going to sit there and just take what comes to us. I think that's just a smokescreen, just everything. I think the Browns sit there all night and we take whatever happens. I will be genuinely shocked if we trade up.
Okay.
I would be less shocked if we trade back, but I would still even be a little like surprised.
Yeah, I can see them just letting the board just play out and grabbing who they like best. But yeah, I can see it.
All right. So, one last big NFL news. I can't believe I almost forgot about it. The GOAT is coming back. Timothy Tebow is coming back to tight end. Oh man, I'm a huge Tebow guy. Huge Tebow guy. For no reason, not for his skill, I just love Tebow. He's just awesome. I mean, how can you not like Tebow?
Yeah, I've always been a big Tebow fan. Like back in 2011, like when he beat the Steelers, he always has a piece of my heart for beating the Steelers in the most miraculously way possible. I probably butchered the heck out of that, but anyway, I love Tebow ever since that moment, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it was just Tebow mania. It's kind of like one of those like Linsanity type guys for me, where it's like they weren't good, but they had that moment where you thought they were good, and they're fun. They're just fun guys.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's our Browns talk. So let's go into Indians.
Okay.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about, and it's not a lot of good things, really. The Twins series was at least positive, that we weren't just completely falling apart, but losing 3 out of 4 to the ice cold Yankees is not optimal. What's your thoughts?
It was probably the worst case scenario we thought of last week. I mean, it was the worst case scenario. But yeah, like the offense was just cold. They couldn't get anything going. And the Yankees didn't do anything particularly special. They just hit home runs, and the Indians could not come back in any shape or form. They looked lackluster and just weren't able to like put up any hits to like drive runs home. It was pathetic most of the weekend.
Especially when it didn't feel like your starters were losing you games. The bats just weren't winning you games. It was just a terrible purgatory of a week where we weren't completely awful. We did our record and scores look awful, but we weren't that bad. But the bats were really bad. So it's one of those. I don't know where to wrap my head around this whole thing.
Yeah, it definitely was just one of those weekends where just everything that went wrong, and they just couldn't climb themselves out of it. But luckily, they didn't get swept. Like they won that last game and were able to like at least not get swept. That's the positive.
Yeah, sadly, that's the positive we're taking away. But let's stay negative for now and then talk about positives later. Let's get all the bad news out now. Logan Allen, he was horrendous again, and he's gone now. Have they announced who we're calling up to fill a spot?
They haven't officially announced it, but I saw that Indians Prospective has hinted that Sam Hedges would be the 5th starter on Sunday. Like that's who everybody seems to be indicating. But and I don't like. I mean, I do like that move, but obviously, like you're not quite sure with him because right now he's been a reliever, and you're not quite sure what he will be as a starter right now. But he does have the stuff to be a starter. He's just inexperienced.
Didn't he just go 3 innings yesterday anyways? Like,
yeah, he went 3 innings. So like right. He's stretched out and should be fine on Sunday, like for his first official start.
Yeah. I don't like that move. I would rather call up an outfield bat or call up Scott Moss. For some reason I'm just Scott Moss's #1 fan. But even starting Cal at the number 5 for now, I think Hedges seems like a great bullpen guy. And if he's this elite starter, man, I'll eat my words quickly. But I don't really understand the move of taking Hedges out of the bullpen when you have no lefties there, or do we have one lefty in the bullpen or something?
I think Nelson replaced Perez in terms of that lefty. So like you would have had 2 if Logan Allen was able to like improve in some way, but like since Allen ran out the door pretty much, like he's your only lefty at the moment. But the good thing was they did call up Sandlin, so like there at least some reinforcements.
Who'd they call up?
Nick Sandlin.
I don't even know him.
Yeah, he's another one of their top relief pitcher prospects that they've had for a while.
Oh, okay. So is he still pretty young, right?
He's like 24.
Oh yeah, that's young. What about Ghost? Did they talk about Ghost at all?
They haven't talked about Ghost, but I mean, it's just been Sandlin at this point. So, and I'm excited for Sandlin. He's like a side armor that can throw like 96, and he's got some juice.
You've convinced me already. I heard sidearm and I'm sold. Simber was the worst pitcher ever. I was sold on him the second I saw him throw one pitch.
Yeah, like it adds another dimension to the bullpen, like that awkward angle that nobody, especially if he throws 96, that nobody can really read off his hand. So that's why I love him already.
Yeah, I agree. So that's fine. Um, that's all the bad I think that really happened this week. Let's do our 3 stars if we can find them. You get
Okay,
first pick this week.
this will be good. I guess I'll take Franmil. He was probably the star of the homestand. Like he was just crushing the ball like throughout the whole week. So he's my number one.
That's a good one. So yeah, I mean he was our bat. He carried the offense for a lot. I think he hit over 400 this week, so that was great. And he's number 2 in the MLB in home runs right now. So
Mm-hmm.
what more do you want from the guy? Um, I'm going one of our fan favorites, the Loop Show. You hit a
Luke
walk off.
Show.
You're a number 1 pick. Easy as that. Simple. I don't write the rules, man. Loop low. You hit a walk off. I love him, man. He's so good. Getting his at bats against righty. He's a full time guy now, and I'm glad Tito's trusting him.
Yeah, it's so good to see that he's finally getting an opportunity to be a full-time major leaguer. Like he obviously always had power, but it was against lefties, so people just wrote him off. But like the fact that he's doing it against righties now, it just makes me excited for him.
Yeah, he was definitely big this week. All right, you got number 2.
Number two, probably Jose. He was like torching the Twins like during the Twins series. Like so, I got to give it to him.
Yeah, I love how we just got done complaining about how bad the bats were. Our first 3 picks were all bats.
Yeah, like of course the irony of in that like the coldest team in the MLB, and then the one for those 3 days that we just totally forgive them. Like,
All right, number 2. Do I do the boring pick? Do I just take Bieber? Because once again, he's just amazing and went seven innings of dominant baseball and got a loss. So I don't. It's hard to take someone as your star of the week when they lose their start. But man, he's so electric night in and night out. It didn't even matter that we lost. That's just such a fun game to watch because you see something like brand new every time he steps on the mound. So I'm gonna give it to Beaver every week unless he has an awful start. And by his standards, that's like 3 runs.
yeah, like he's got a permanent spot in our 3 stars of the week. Like he can have his own little corner for all I care. Like,
Yeah, he's getting pretty close. He's getting into dangerous territory of us just vetoing him. Like, all right, we get it. Bieber was star of the week. Who else you got on the team?
yeah, like at this point, we might as well just have like what our best Shane Bieber moment of the week at the like.
Yeah, no, that's how the draft's gonna work. All right, so you have your 3 stars of the week, and then name your favorite strikeout that Shane Bieber had this week.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Okay,
you got number
so
3.
number three. Um, I'll give it to Savali. Like he has been underrated in this on this pitching staff. Like he's undefeated. He's through like 8 innings and he was just dominant. Like he's underrated on this team. Like and he should get more love. Like honestly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I knew he gave up like 4 runs, so it doesn't look as great, but he went far into the game and he didn't make our bullpen get tired. And we've been playing a lot recently, so it was nice to give the bullpen kind of a rest day. And Karinchak, who I was thinking about taking third, I'm not, came out and just a nice little 4 out save too. So that was just a nice little game all around. I like that one. So great pick there. Once again, Savali's almost a mainstay too. I'm gonna pick a guy who kind of just needed this, and had a big week for himself. I'm taking Zach Plesac. Zach
Okay.
Plesac was struggling, and maybe it's just because he can't pitch against Chicago. I don't know what it is. He looked great in his most recent start. Only 1 run. He was just throwing needles at the strike zone, just peppering it all day, and it was just a beautiful start for Plesac.
Yeah, that was a bounce back that he needed in the worst way. Like he looked a lot like his 2020 form where he was just hitting his spots, like just hitting the corners, just staying away from the bad parts of the zone. He was great that game.
And the weird part for me with him was all of his like off speed stuff, all of the junk was working. And I don't know, it just almost feels like it was a mental thing against Chicago where he couldn't throw anything off speed. And then all of his fastballs just went way up. So he looked like that's fine now. And I think that was just 2 bad starts. I still think he's going to be one of those guys finishing top 10 in Cy Young voting.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like he was trying to just do too much, and they probably just took him aside and like, "Hey, man, your stuff is already nasty. You can do good. You don't have to overthink it." Like, and he will be a lot better as the season goes along.
Yeah, I fully agree. All right, so that's Indians talk. You got anything else for them?
Not that I can think of. I think we're good on Indians talk.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing before we close out the show, what's your take on just Kevin Love, his little outburst, and just him as a Cavalier in general?
The outburst. I mean, I watched it live. He was frustrated on how the ref was not giving him calls, and he kind of just lost his head for a moment. And everybody kind of made it out to be more than it was, which is kind of silly. Like,
wait, Matt, you're telling me the media took something out of context and they made it a lot worse than what it really was?
I know, crazy concept, right?
Yeah, so shocker.
Yeah, it just like I was seeing all these hot takes like G. Bush saying all this, Jason Lloyd, all these different media heads, and it's just like it's not that deep. It was just a frustrating moment. It was a boneheaded play. That's all it was. He didn't like, of course, because of all the heat, he had to just basically tell everybody, "Hey, I'm Cleveland for life. It's not that serious." Like for like 13 minutes straight, he didn't even answer questions. He was just venting because it was just like that type of situation.
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing that I took away from it too. It just seemed like he was frustrated with himself, with the team, with everything. And that was kind of just what it led to, just him smacking a ball. And if you're a Cleveland sports fan and if that's driving you over the edge, you dealt with 20 years of LeBron where he would just not get back on plays, scream at teammates, let dudes just go in for open layups. So if that one singular Kevin Love play is what's driving you over the edge to just cut him, which is insane, just to burn money like that, whatever. You're a lunatic, man.
Yeah, and this goes back to the one guy. I'm not even going to say his name, but he basically wished death on the guy. Basically,
Yeah.
like, I hope he just dies in a car crash, which is just beyond pathetic. Like, it's entertainment, it's sports, it's not that serious. And like, if you're wishing death on a player because of an outcome of a game, and that's basically meaningless, just like seek help, seek some type of peace, because like that can't happen. Like, they're humans at the end of the day. Like, and honestly, it's like Kevin Love has been such a punching bag for this team for a long time. Like, it's kind of ridiculous the criticism he takes. Like, it's annoying.
My favorite Kevin Love hate was the stop trying to fit out, just fit in from LeBron. That's like a Hall of Fame, just Cleveland like drama where you're like, you're the one now causing the problem. Yeah, we know Kevin isn't gelling right away, but you tweeting about him and bashing him, I don't think that's going to work for a guy who's just not always there.
Yeah, everybody overlooks that, like, and just instantly just blames Kevin. Like, that's always been the thing every time he's been here. It just sucks that he's always been this easy target, and it's just like always overblown. That like,
yeah. And like one of the things to like almost play devil's advocate to what we're saying is he is hurt a lot. He does have bad moments. So it's frustration is understandable, but people just always go for Kevin Love, and he's just the easy guy to pile on.
yeah, like he's not all the Cavs' problems right now. Like, the Cavs are 3 years in a rebuild. They're trying to build this thing back up. He's not the only problem right now. They still need a little bit more time to get back to where they want to be. And like, Kevin Love's not the main issue here. He's never been the main issue. He's a symptom, but it's never been the main problem.
Yeah. So, well, speaking of people dying, who knows what's going to happen by Sunday? Kyle Shanahan, man. So make sure you will listen to this pod before Sunday because we don't know what's going to happen. Thank you guys for watching. That's all we got today. That's a great way to end on. Shout out Kevin Love. Hopefully the Browns don't mess up the draft that badly. See you guys.